Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OC Gridiron Show for week 2 already, Mr. Fryer. And want to welcome everybody back to OCVarsity on YouTube. If you guys haven't subscribed and liked some of our video content, please show Steve and I your support. We appreciate everyone who's tuning in to our show. And if you have been following, you see that Steve Fryer has caught me in the prediction business already here. He's coming off a strong 4-1 showing last week, Mr. Fryer, strengthened by your pick of Corona del Mar to beat Cypress. That was a big one. But how you doing this week as we're going into week 2?
I don't know. We're going to find out, aren't we?
We're going to find out real quick. A couple of really good Thursday matchups. And I should mention, Steve and I are both 9-2 this season on our predictions. Couple of good Thursday games. Want to take you out first. Villa Park firmly and in the Orange County top 25, hitting the road to take on Upland, which is 2-0. Upland's an interesting team, Steve, because they're the team that opened up and thumped La Habra in the opening week. They're 2-0, also beat Norco. So How good is Villa Park? They're coming off that impressive win against Orange, played a team out in Hawaii. This could be a real indicator is where Villa Park is in the Crestview League. Who do you pick in this one, Mr. Fryer?
I saw Villa Park last week, and they looked really, really good. They've got a bunch of really good players. I like their defense. Lucas Simone coming off the edge is really good. Man, they got some dudes. And I think they may be the best team in the Crestview League. I think they might get Yor Belinda, who's won the league the last 2 years. And Yor was the CF championship champion last year, who beat Upland in last year's Division III final. Upland got a lot of dudes back. Great defense, Espinoza, etc. I think Upland's going to win this game, Dan. I at home. That's a good home advantage for the Upland Scots. And from just looking at those two scores and what I know about the returning arsenal they have, as much as I like Villa Park, really like that team a lot. But I think Upland wins this game.
Yeah, I'm also picking Upland, but I'm covering this game for OCVarsity because I am intrigued to see Villa Park. So I'm making the roadie out to Upland, and I'm interested to see how good Villa Park is. So I know Noah Sandoval, the quarterback from Upland, is off to a pretty sizzling start through three TDs in that victory against Norco. So we'll find out a lot about Villa Park coming up this week. Another one I like on Thursday. Want to ask you, Mr. Fryer, how about Cypress playing host to El Medina? This game is going to be at Western High School. Again, 2 top 25 teams in Orange County. Cypress just slipped out of the top 25, but this matchup is great because of the dual threat quarterbacks. You have Cypress has got, I think, maybe the best in the county, and Aiden Houston, senior. Yeah. And then, hey, Xavier Guess, junior at El Medina. He's a dual threat. El Medina lost its opener to Connolly in a pretty close game. They didn't score a ton of points because one of the touchdowns for El Medina was a pick 6. So who do you got in this game, Cypress, Elmo?
I'm going with Cypress in this one. Should Cypress have dropped out of the top 10 down to 11? I don't know. We pulled Servite into 10 after losing to Rancho Cucamonga by just 3 points. Really, really good effort by the Servite Friar guys. Aiden Houston's really a handful, running it and throwing it equally. El Medina quarterback is also a dynamic guy, sort of like Aiden Houston, the quarterback at El Medina. Another guy who can run and throw it pretty good. But I think Cypress, led by a pretty good group of linebackers, pretty good offensive front as well. I like Cypress to win this game, down.
Yeah, I'm also picking Cypress to rebound from that loss against Corona del Mar, where they did some good things in that game. Coach Kevin Heddick said it was a closer game than maybe the score indicated. But El Medina, I should have given a shout out to defensive cornerback Greg Cortez. I'm not pronouncing it right, but that's the best I got. But Greg, he had the pick 6 in that game, along with 6 tackles, number 8 for El Medina. So let's move on to the Friday docket, Mr. Fryer. I think this is a pretty good game. We've already talked a little bit about them. La Habra and Newport. This game's on Friday night at Newport, I believe. Now, this one is interesting because you have La Habra that kind of rediscovered its offense last week in that victory against El Dorado after being shut out against Upland in the opener. And then you had Newport Harbor kind of got its groove in the fourth quarter, big fourth quarter, rallied to beat Tesoro on a last-second field goal by John Richardson. And Newport really got their offense going. You had Jaden O'Neill throwing touchdowns to 2 touchdowns to Josiah Lamarque. They also got Jordan Anderson going as well on a deep ball that set up that play. He's a very good senior committed to Oregon. But who do you got in this one, Farr? This is an interesting one. Newport and La Habra.
Yeah, don't freak out about that La Habra 33-0 loss to Upland, because that says more about how good Upland is than what La Habra state of football is right now. When they beat El Dorado was out there, ace running back Isaiah Quintero, who's out for a little while with an injury. So, good one for La Habra nonetheless. Newport Harbor, Jaden O'Neill, the quarterback, got it together. I expect to see more development from him, Dan, because he's a sophomore, and they develop quarterbacks pretty good over there at Newport Harbor. So I like Newport Harbor in this game. Might be a similarly close one as you had last week. I think you were at that game covering it for us. But that Lamarque O'Neill thing is going to be really good. When I saw Lamarque last year, he was really good. So, I got Harbor, but I think it's going to be a similarly close game, and I'll be at that game Friday.
Yeah, and that game will be at Newport Harbor. It's Davison Field, beautiful field, and you'll get some good weather over there, I think, this week. So that you'll have an enjoyable night there. I'm also picking Newport Harbor, though I think La Habra, they really impressed me against El Dorado. Bryce Whitley had a big game receiving. Got to watch him at wide receiver, but I'm interested to see what happens with this Newport Harbor offense. Because interesting enough, Steve, you're going to see Josiah Lamarque probably play a little running back, maybe.
Right.
He's playing a little running back, which is his position he played in youth football before he got into high school. But it's really when you put Lamarque and Anderson on opposing sides where I start to think that's problematic for defenses. One on one side, one on the other. That's going to be a tall order for La Habra's secondary. So we'll see how that one goes. All right, continuing on. I like this one again on Friday too. Irvine High School is going to be the site of this one. 2 reigning CIF Southern Section champions are hooking up, Steve. You have Laguna Beach and Northwood, from those lower type divisions, but still solid football. Northwood, SoCal champion last year, got into the state finals. Laguna Beach almost joined them in their postseason run. So Northwood is 1-1. They're coming off a surprising loss to Kennedy, 35-21. While Laguna Beach is also 1-1, they rebounded from a kind of surprising season opening loss, and they beat Dana Hills last week in a pretty competitive game. So both these teams are well coached, experienced coaches from J.C. Clark, Coach Shanahan at Laguna Beach, and there's a lot of good assistant coaches as well. Who do you got in this one, Mr. Fryer?
I like Laguna Beach in this one. I think the quarterback at Laguna Beach, Jackson College, gives them a pretty good edge. Eddie Mobb moving over from Woodbridge to Northwood. He's a fine quarterback as well. He's done really good for Northwood. Man, I always, I think the Northwood people either love me or hate me because I always sort of overlook that team a little bit. And maybe they like it because I fire them up, and maybe they think I just don't respect them. But either way, I like Laguna Beach in this game. I think Jack Colick over there at Laguna Beach, he's a quarterback that in about 3 or 4 years' time, everybody's going to be going, who is this guy from Laguna Beach? Remember that name. I think he's going to be a great player in college football. He's a fine high school player right now. Laguna Beach with Colick, they got the edge.
All right. I think they love you over there at Northwood and home of the Timberwolves. So I don't think you have anything to worry about, Mr. Fryer, but they might not like our picks because I am also picking Laguna Beach. Though I expect Northwood really to improve. They're going to be one of those teams. They're a well-coached, prideful team.
Yeah,
they're going to improve a lot after that one loss. And I think Kennedy maybe exposed some things. They're going to look to get Joseph Harper going again. He had a kind of a quiet game against Kennedy. And I think Northwood tackling will probably improve, but they're going to have to somehow tackle Mr. Swanson, the big tight end, Cole Jackson's top target there. But I'm expecting Laguna Beach to win. I think it'll be a competitive game. I really think Northwood's going to bring it. Their second straight game playing at the friendly confines of Irvine High School. So that should be a very interesting game. Love that these guys are playing each other as well. So I think we've agreed on every game so far, and let's see what happens in our last game. This is the Bally SoCal game of the week. You got Mission Viejo off to a 2-0 start, taking on one of their rivals in Long Beach Poly. There's some good rivalry history here. This game's going to be Friday night at Veterans Stadium. And interesting, Diablo's 2-0. Last year they lost to Poly in a barn burner game at Mission Viejo, and that really burned the Diablos, kind of spurred them on to reach that playoff run they made in Division One, capped by their win against Centennial Corona. So Mission's coming for this one. Poly's gonna be tough though. They just played on the road. They played Bishop Gorman, very highly nationally ranked team, and had a tough time against the Nevada State Power. But that's just going to make them better for this game. Who do you got in this one, Mr. Fryer?
Yeah, what was it, 60-15? Bishop Gorman won, but Bishop Gorman's number 2 in the nation by Max Preps anyway. That has Mater Dei at 1, Bosco at 3. So again, it's one of those things where I don't get too excited about those sort of one-sided scores when you're playing a team like Upland, Bishop Gorman, whatever it might be. I like Mission Viejo in this game. I'm not a big fan of using 2 quarterbacks, Dan, Luke Fahey and Drayden Trudeau for Mission Viejo, but they're both playing really well. Yeah. And who am I to second guess Coach Chad Johnson and all his group over there at Diablo Land? He's got so many good coaches and they know what they're doing. Sometimes 2 quarterbacks gives a defense different looks. You got to prepare for 2 different guys. Yikes. No fun if both guys are as effective as Fahey and Trudeau have been thus far. Really good defense on the Diablo side. Jack Matranga loading it up with tackles. All-county guy for us probably when the season ends. Dan, we got to remember Jack Matranga. Sure. So I like Mission Viejo in this game a whole bunch. I think this is maybe a team like laying low in the weeds, so to say. We get pretty excited about the Mater Dei and the rest of Trinity League. Orange Lutheran's off to such a nice start too. But Mission Viejo is somebody to watch. Got to keep an eye on those guys, and I think Diablos win this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you're spot on Mission Viejo, Mr. Fryer. I like the way Chad Johnson's handling this quarterback situation. Yeah, I've asked him about it several times and talked to him about after the scrimmage, and he said to me, Steve, he said, I'm not really worried about the quarterback competition. I'm more worried about the play of our offensive line and our tackling and some of our coverage schemes. We got other problems. He likes both of these quarterbacks. Like you said, they're both playing well. It's a sophomore, junior, and it looks like this might be here to stay. And I'm really interested about these wide receivers that are emerging from Mission Viejo too. And this, Chad's also kind of calling this a rebuilding year, Fryer. But you got Phil Bell, the touted junior transfer, but last week it was Vance Spatford, sophomore, who had a big game against Citrus Valley. So they got some young players that are emerging. So of course they have a very good secondary. So, but I'm also picking Mission. I'm going to be at this game, so looking forward to checking out the Diablos. I'm always down, Mr. Fryer, to watch Mission Long Beach Poly. That's always a good non-league game. I hope they continue to play this game for many years to come. As the schedules change with the competitive equity in the county next year, I hope Mission and Poly always play. I like this matchup a lot.
A couple things really quick. Stafford's got, I think, 13 catches already, sophomore. Mission Viejo keeps rolling out receivers every year. Here's Stafford, maybe the next Van Stafford, maybe the next hot one coming out of there too. You're covering this game at Vets, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you leaving now? Because that's a long walk up there. The older I get, the more they add more steps to these stadiums. It seems like every year the stadium, the press box gets a little higher up each year for me. I don't know what it is, but one thing I do like about covering Vets is people always want to stop and say hello. If you see me climbing up to Cerritos College or Veteran Stadium, you want to stop me to say hello, please do. Please do. I need to catch my breath. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Hey, I hear you. I'm inspired. Last year, I think it was, I saw
Chris
the
Ricks.
video, the Chris Ricks video. Way to go, Coach Ricks. The guy is doing it all, from the broadcasting, the coaching, the family man. He's a great guy to follow, some inspirational quotes and talks if you ever meet him. So that's what, now I certainly cannot move like the former Santa Margarita, Florida State quarterback, but I will try to have a little pep in my step going up those steps.
I'm going to race him up there just for the fun of it. I know I'm going to get beat. I know I'm going to get beat, but I just want to do it.
Hey, that sounds like fun if you don't get injured, Mr. Fryer. It's only week 2, so be careful what you're asking for there. So a shout out to Coach Rick. So
yeah, he's a
maybe
great
we'll
guy.
see him. It is a Bally's game. Maybe he'll be there as well. So he always supports our coverage very much. So
you and I don't know a better guy than him.
Yes, he's a good guy, a great guy, a good ambassador for high school football. So there it is, Mr. Fryer. We got Upland, we have Cypress, we have Newport Harbor, we have Laguna Beach and Mission Viejo winning, and we will stay locked. However our records come back, we're 9-2, and we'll be locked next week as we go toward week 3 already. Fryer, it's going by very fast.